Hello, everybody. So, I wanted to talk to you today about a subject that I find fascinating. I have felt way back when the estrangement was kind of happening, my son was pulling away from me for sure, and arguing with me, finding fault with just everything I did and said. And, I said this to a friend, not knowing anything about estrangement. I didn't even know the word estrangement. I just knew that something was very wrong, and I felt it in my gut. And I had said to her, I feel like he's in a cult. And so the reason why I want to talk about this today is I've seen this a couple of times in the comments. And I love reading all your comments because you literally give me really good subject matter to do another video. Sometimes I feel like, I've said everything I can say, and then, my wonderful viewers will, tell me in depth either one of their stories, what happened to them, or in this case, one of my viewers mentioned a book that they had read. And I believe the book, it is a little confusing because there's the name of the channel, the name of the book, the name of the video, but I believe the book is named Rules of Estrangement. And it's written by Joshua Coleman, who is I believe a PhD. He's got very, very good credentials. And there's a video, and I will link the video below. He has quite a few, but this one is called A Cult of One. And he actually describes estrangement as like being a cult. And I've never had, I don't think ever, my feelings validated as much as when I watched this video. So I want to thank you to my viewer, you know who you are out there, who mentioned this, and also drop the link, and I so appreciate it. And like I said, I will leave the link below for all of you if you want to check it out. He has quite a few, like I said. They're all about an hour long, but it's so worthwhile to listen to this. I felt like he was telling my story. And maybe some of you or many of you have the same situation. And I know I've always said that my son's attitude and fault with me really started when he met his girlfriend. And it really did. And again, I'm not blaming her. And I've seen that in the comments too. Please know, I am not dropping this at her doorstep, that it's all her fault. No, I'm not. I did get to know her a little bit. And I do believe she was a very insecure person and very controlling and very, very territorial when it came to my son. But having said that, he is a grown man. But it's very interesting the way this doctor talks about it, that it can happen with adult men or women, but it's so much more, I think it's like 70% of men that are more susceptible to this by their significant other, being a woman. They're much more susceptible to getting pulled in, being forced in some cases, but maybe not physically forced, but emotionally forced to distance themselves. In today's society, there's, the saying, don't be a mama's boy, and you want to cut the apron strings. And that a lot of men will feel that in order to be a man, I need to distance myself from my mother. And I understand that. I really do understand that. But they go, of course, they take it to the next extreme where, they have nothing to do with them, or maybe even their fathers too. Not only be estranged from their parents or mother or father or both, but their entire family, their siblings, their grandparents, and in many cases, even childhood friends who they've grown up with, they will distance themselves. So that the woman, and I'm going to say woman because, like this doctor says, 70% are men that get into this situation. So they pretty much will tear them away from everybody. And maybe it is all about, like in my case, it is all about her family. She was very close to her family. It's all about her family. And very often the wives will convince their husbands or boyfriends that their family really is bad, that they're evil. They don't feel comfortable. And I know this is what this woman said about me. She didn't feel comfortable with me around. She didn't feel that I showed her any respect. It's like, I'm nice to everybody. And I always say I wanted to gain a daughter, and instead I lost my son. But I really wanted to gain a daughter. I never thought for a minute that whoever he ended up with, that I wouldn't get along with them, because if he loved him, I loved him, and that was always my feeling. And it just, this whole situation, not that anybody can prepare for it, because you really can't, but it really threw me for a loop. And I get that, no matter who you are and whatever your personality is, not everybody is going to like you. And I absolutely understand that. But I can also say that the majority of people like me. And if anything, I think I maybe stumbled over myself trying to please her, and maybe came across a little awkward in my enthusiasm for her to accept me and like me. But anyway, she wasn't going to. And I always felt that too. It wasn't even me personally. It would have been whoever was his mother. His family had to go. So excuse me, I've got my notes again, so I'll be looking down. I just don't want to miss anything. Like I said, I find this absolutely fascinating, because this is the feeling that I had for so long, that it was like he was in a cult and I just couldn't reach him anymore. And his personality did change, and that's one of the traits of being in a cult, where their personality changes. They have separate realities. This doctor talked about rewriting history and rewriting their childhood, and getting convinced that their childhood was actually not good and very bad, when in reality, it wasn't. So it's a form of brainwashing, and he actually used that term as well. So like I said, I got my feelings were so validated by watching this video. I said to myself, I have to make a video on this topic. I have to. I don't know if maybe this is your story with your adult child's significant other, but he has a whole slew of videos on this topic, on the topic of estrangement, not just, having it be like a cult. But this one, it was called A Cult of One. And again, his name is Joshua Coleman. So I just wanted to put this out there because I think the information is so important. I wish maybe I had heard about this maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when all this was going on with me and my son. I don't know what I could have done. He does give some tips on how to handle the insecure woman, even though she comes across very rude and cold, that she's actually terrified and very vulnerable. And that maybe if you treat her as such, and I'm hope that you will listen to this if it's something that you're going through, that maybe you can nip it in the bud, maybe with kindness and handling her with kid gloves. Maybe you can avoid what so many of us could not avoid, and that is total estrangement. So that's my video for today, and it's Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Please keep the comments coming. Please like and subscribe. It'll help our channel, and we're growing. We are a growing community. I hope that you have a good weekend, and please do something nice for yourself this weekend because you deserve it. And I'll see you in my next one. God bless.